In the late 1980s, four cartoon turtles didn't just dominate television. They dominated everything. They were on lunchboxes, cereal boxes, pajamas, toothpaste, arcade cabinets, and movie screens. They were selling billions of dollars in toys. And for a brief moment in time, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were bigger than anything Batman, bigger than anything Star Wars, and bigger than anything Disney. This wasn't nostalgia. This was called Turtle Mania. And, like all manias, it burnt fast. By the mid-1990s, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles weren't cool anymore. They weren't edgy. They weren't even relevant. They were a joke. So, how did one of the most overexposed franchises in pop culture history manage to come back from near death? And, more importantly, why did the 2003 TMNT series succeed where everything else failed? To understand that, we need to go back to the beginning. Not to a cartoon studio, not to a toy company, but to a tiny rundown apartment with a single joke drawing that was never meant to change pop culture. The accidental creation of TMNT. In 1983, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were broke. Not struggling artists. Broke. They shared a small apartment in New Hampshire, living off ramen noodles and borrowed money. They weren't chasing fame. They weren't trying to create a new franchise. They were making comics for themselves. One night, Eastman drew a ridiculous sketch, a turtle standing upright holding nunchucks with a mask. Laird laughed and added another. Then another. Then they gave them a name that was absurd. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The name itself was a parody, mocking the dark, gritty comic trends of the early 80s, like Daredevil and the New Mutants. But here's the thing. When they turned it into a full comic book, they didn't treat it like a joke. The original 1984 TMNT comic was black and white, violent, full of blood, heavily inspired by Frank Miller. These turtles killed people. The Shredder died in the first issue. There was no catchphrase.
And I hunger for cowabunga!
No pizza obsession, no goofy humor. And somehow, it worked. They printed 3,000 copies, expecting to maybe sell half. But they sold out. Fast. Word spread through the comic shops. Then conventions. Then underground comic circles. TMNT wasn't mainstream, but it didn't need to be. It was profitable. And that's when the outside world took notice. By the mid-1980s, licensing agents saw something Eastman and Laird didn't. These characters weren't just comic characters. They were toy characters. Bright colors, distinct personalities, easily marketable weapons. So, when Playmates Toys approached them with an idea, a cartoon series to sell action figures, everything changed. But there was a catch. To sell toys to kids, TMNT couldn't stay dark. It had to become something else entirely, thus causing the most important decision in TMNT history. Eastman was open in change. Peter Laird wasn't. Laird wanted to protect the identity of the comics. Eastman saw an opportunity. This tension would define TMNT forever. Eventually, they agreed. And the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles debuted as a Saturday morning cartoon. What followed wasn't just success, it was a total culture domination. The explosion of Turtle Mania. When the TMNT cartoon premiered in December of 1987, it wasn't just another Saturday morning cartoon. It was a sales vehicle. And that's not just an insult. That's the key to understanding why TMNT didn't just succeed, it overwhelmed pop culture. Because unlike most cartoons of the era, TMNT wasn't created after toy success. It was engineered from day one to sell merchandise. Playdates Toys was no Hasbro. They were a mid-level company taking a massive risk. So, instead of betting on slow growth, they went all in. They asked one simple question. How did we turn four turtles into a never-ending toy line? The answer? Make everything a character. In the original Mirage comics, there was very few villains, very few allies, very few costume changes. That wouldn't work for toys. So, the cartoons changed everything. In the comics, the turtles were mostly similar. The cartoon made them Leonardo the leader, Raphael the hothead, Donatello the brain, Michelangelo the comedian. This wasn't just for storytelling, it was for marketing. Kids didn't just want a turtle, they wanted their turtle. That single decision multiplied toy sales instantly. Eastman and Laird made a decision. They wanted TMNT to be more kid-friendly to sell toys. So, what they did was they removed blood, removed killing. Even Michelangelo's nunchucks were slowly phased out because parents complained. This wasn't censorship killing creativity, it was survival. Because if the show got pulled off, the toy line died with it. By 1988, something insane happened. TMNT wasn't just popular, it was everywhere. Kids weren't casually watching TMNT, they were obsessed. Action figures sold out instantly. New characters every wave. Vehicles, playsets, costumes, VHS tapes, video games, breakfast cereal. Concert tours. Yes, concert tours. The Turtles literally performed live music in front of screaming kids. This wasn't normal fandom behavior. This was Beatlemania for reptiles. At its peak, TMNT merchandise was making over $1 billion per year. Playmates alone sold over 400 million action figures in just a few years. To put that into perspective, TMNT was outselling Star Wars toys at the time. Hollywood noticed fast. In 1990, studios faced a terrifying question. Can this work outside of animation? The answer was a low-budget, independently produced film. No major studio. No massive expectations. And then, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 exploded. It became the highest-grossing independent film ever at that time. Darker than the cartoon, closer to the comics, a cultural event. Parents liked it, kids loved it, fans respect it. For a brief moment, TMNT achieved the impossible. It pleased everyone. Success breeds confidence. Too much success breeds carelessness. By 1991, the cartoon was pumping out episodes non-stop. New villains appeared weekly. Toy waves became ridiculous. Pizza-throwing turtles, cavemen turtles, space turtles, sports turtles. The brand started losing its identity, but no one wanted to slow down because the money was still flowing in massively. The Secrets of the Ooze softened the tone. Less edge, more jokes, less combat. Parents approved. Older fans didn't. Then, TMNT 3 happened. Time travel, cheap costumes, low stakes. Kids noticed the drop in quality even if they couldn't articulate it. This is important because kids know when something is feeling off. And once cool is gone, it doesn't come back easily. Turtle Mania didn't fade because kids grew up. It faded because oversaturation killed excitement. The brand stopped evolving. TMNT became predictable. Every week, a new villain, easy win, no consequences. The Turtles went from rebels to mascots. And mascots don't stay cool forever. TMNT didn't fail because it wasn't popular. It failed because it was too popular for its own good. By the early 90s, toy shelves were flooded. The cartoon blended into background noise. New franchises copied the formula. Power Rangers, Street Sharks, Biker Mice. TMNT created its own competition, and slowly, the cultural wave broke. By the early 1990s, TMNT was everywhere, but being everywhere came with a cost. The franchise that had once felt fresh, dangerous, and exciting now felt predictable. Playmates kept pushing new action figure waves every few months. Cavemen turtles, because prehistoric turtles are fun apparently. Space turtles, time travel wasn't enough. Sports turtles, baseball, football, even wrestling themed turtles. Kids didn't buy them all. Parents started refusing. Stores started overstocking. The magic of the 4 original turtles was dying down. Even the weapons changed. Kids complained the nunchucks were gone, the toys became plastic capsules of themselves. The cartoon, meanwhile, was crunching out episodes non-stop. Stories repeated, Shredder threatens the city, Turtles fight him, one-liner jokes, pizza celebration. The formula worked first, but Repetition made it feel like a machine, not a story. Even the animation suffered. Tight budgets meant reused frames, lower quality backgrounds, and rushed scripts. TMNT 2, Secret of the Ooze, 1991, tried to be funnier and softer. Older fans felt that it wasn't for them. TMNT 3 went very bad. Time travel plot, weak costumes, over silly humor. Box office was okay, but the franchise lost its edge. The reason the decline happened so fast was over-exaggeration, loss of identity, rising competition, and an aging audience. By 1993, kids were moving on. The cultural obsession that had made TMNT unstoppable started to fade. The warning was clear. Turtle Mania was crashing. After TMNT 3, the franchise entered a dark period. The Next Mutation. In 1997, the Next Mutation series aired. Live action introduced a new turtle, Venus. It was universally panned. Fans hated it. The tone was uneven, storytelling awkward, and the costume designs felt cheap. This was the last major attempt to revive TMNT in the 90s before everything went quiet. Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman clashed with studios over control. The toys stopped selling, the shows weren't rated well, comics went niche again. TMNT became a 90s fad. Remembered fondly, but not relevant. By the late 90s, no major cartoons, movie rights in limbo, comic sales low. It seemed the Turtles might never recover, and yet they did. Everything changed in 2003. Peter Laird regained creative control. 4Kids Entertainment handled the production. The goal returned TMNT to its roots. The show was darker, faster paced, and closer to the comics. Turtles fought seriously, villains had consequences, story arcs spanned in multiple episodes. Fans loved it. Kids responded, parents approved. The reason why it worked: respect for the source material, characters stayed true, modern animation, clearly better paced fight scenes, strategic storytelling, multiple episode arcs. Merchandise aligned with the show, toys weren't overwhelming. This wasn't just a revival, it was a rebirth. The 2003 show proved that TMNT could survive beyond nostalgia. Comics gained readers again, toys sold in similar, smarter batches. The brand regained credibility. The lesson: when they carefully managed TMNT, it worked. TMNT today owes everything to the 2003 revival. Later series like 2012 CGI, Rise of the TMNT, all built on this foundation, showed the importance of respecting fans while innovating. Proved that oversaturation kills hype, but smart storytelling revives it. TMNT didn't just survive, it reinvented itself multiple times. From a tiny mirage comic to a global phenomenon, from oversaturation to near death, to a careful, repeated revival. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are more than just a fad. They're a case studied in pop culture survival. The lesson for any franchise: respect your source material, don't overproduce, know your audience, reinvent smartly. Turtle Mania may have burned fast, but the Turtles themselves, they never went away.